lovely day, so I'm going to take you on a tour and show you some ancient cultural history that's thousands of years old. On the way to the ancient site in a cemetery going all the way up this giant big hill. Soldiers are buried. I remember as a kid, the first time I walked through here and saw that man there, I thought he was actually a real person and it scared me. Interesting. Mound there. It's cool. Cemeteries say that that mound was built for this mausoleum. And other sources say that it's part of an ancient Adena mound. But whether that's debatable or not, I guess, whatever, because there is actually an ancient Adena mound just right beside here, which could be the source of the confusion, and it really is just part of the mausoleum. And I'll show you. And history says that when the settlers came here, they found all these mounds. They didn't know what they were and who put them here. They said they didn't know who they were, who put them here, why they were here. And when they asked the natives, they didn't know either. And I don't know about that. They say there was no culture here, and that the Adena culture left. Became the Hopewell, which was more centered 20 miles south of here, which really isn't all that far away if you ask me. For them to say there was nothing here. And I also don't understand if they didn't know this was a burial site, why they chose to make it a cemetery. I'll show you something else interesting about that history. Here, imagine, but all through down there, it's downtown and there's a river, and they called it the Cozing. I think at the time this was all settled, they called it the Vernon River and Owl Creek. It was actually very important. A lot of people don't know that Ohio was the second most populated state in the Union up until after the Civil War, and that Ohio contributed more to the Union Army and soldiers than any other state. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. It was really populated because of all the rivers and canal systems here. It was before the railroad. Once the railroads came in, things quickly changed. But before that, Ohio was the place to be. These are pretty interesting. See, the view from up here is really, really nice. I'm almost there at the very top. In fact, I kind of believe we're already on it. Right there is what's left of an ancient Adena burial mound. This is an ancient burial mound. The top was lopped off. This is for these monuments to be put on. But these mounds were used to bury like celebrities, the really important people in their culture. They would start off with like a very important person, and they cremated them in like a building and then bury it, and then they would do it again, and they would seal them up, and it would just be layers upon layers upon layers. And I don't believe that they did. Nobody knew what it was because sorry, they're mowing. What it was, if they chose to do this with it. Not only when they did excavate this top part and took out the last person they think might have been put in there, it wasn't a man who was from an Adena culture by the things he had. In fact, there are rumors he was the chief of the Delaware at the time, who was actually quite feared in this area because he would go around scalping the settlers. So, if this area was not really occupied by anyone and no one knew what it was used for, then why did the Delaware go around scalping, and why would the Delaware choose to bury the chief here, if it wasn't a part of a culture that anyone knew about and anyone still used. Tore out the chieftain, put a monument to themselves, and made themselves a giant crypt. And I'm not saying these people were all that bad, but I think they might have obviously saw themselves as celebrities in the area. They have a giant mansion and a hotel, and they kind of are, or were. They were famous abolitionists who helped a lot of people on the Underground Railroad, with lots of stories even of hiding people in these crypts and in these tombs and places around here in this cemetery. But history says that the culture stopped using them a long time ago, and nobody knew what it was. But if that's the case, then why possibly were the Delaware using it? Why did the settlers quickly find out what it was for and use it for the same purpose themselves? And I don't know. I just have a lot of questions. I think the history is a bunch of BS, and they don't tell the whole story. But I kind of don't know. What would you think? You can't see nearly the view that I can. Sorry about the wind on the camera, but I can see all around for really, really far. It's so cool. Imagine before those trees and things were there, how much more I could have seen. Pretty sure these big shots knew exactly what this was. That's just my theory. Chose to bury themselves here. I don't know. You tell me. Like I said, if no culture was here and no one was using it, then why did the Delaware? And why did the settlers? But there's others in the area too by different cultures. I'd like to show the Hopewell, right beside where my grandmother was. Built a giant, different ones, and a lot of those were just shapes and things they weren't. They didn't have burial sites, but there's that one there. And the owners of the cemetery say no, it has not ever been part of a mound or Adena culture, but it was just part of that mausoleum when it was built, even though the internet sources say otherwise. And I kind of might agree, because I don't know why they would build a mound there when they had that other one, although maybe this was for a little less famous people, so it wasn't on the very top of this mount, which could be thousands of years old of mounds even, who knows. Quite interesting. Oh, this is another as well, just like the internet says. Would rather think the internet might know more than just some guy that works here that also believes in the history that no one knew what this was when they got here. Quite cool. You can't really see how steep or large this mound and hill is on the video very well, but it is very, very, very cool. It's a great view. That's a really cool one. Oops. I guess I better get in there and hide. They just test them all the time. Those were low. This building is pretty cool. Think about sometimes when I walk around here and wonder about the truth. People come out of that tree over there. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of people in the graveyard today running around looking for things, like some type of scavenger hunt or something. But I don't know where that bush or tree goes, but people keep going all the way inside and coming out.